We're just going to go straight into streaming, and I don't know why we're so dark. Wow.
Because the kitchen light's off.
Oh.
Maybe turn that on.
Maybe we should turn that on.
Maybe we should turn that on.
I think I'm going to go turn that on. So I'm going to go turn that on.
Turn that on. Turn it on. Ow.
Alright, that seems better. Oh, I got this harsh light. Oh, well, that's fine. Okay, so let's begin with the beginning. Alright, we're going. Woo! Welcome. We're starting a little bit late here. Unless you're doing the podcast version. In which case, we're right on time.
We're right on time.
Of course we're right on time. Yes. We're here.
That's how that works.
Yes, we're here when we start, and we are on time for the Media Boat Podcast.
For the Media Boat Podcast. Let me mute this, and then we can turn on the Audacity, because I have the audacity to begin podcasting.
Well, I have the audacity to already start.
What? Ah!
Okay, we're already going.
We're already going.
Yeah,
hey, that means welcome to the Media Boat Podcast. Today is June the
20th.
Wow, really?
20th.
I was going to say the 17th. I was going to be so wrong.
You're so wrong.
It's June the 20th, 2018. This is episode 128 of the Media Boat Podcast. The Media Boat Podcast is your source for news about movies, television, video games, and music. Not necessarily in that order, but sometimes in that order. But not today. Maybe once upon a time. But yeah. This is a regular show this week. Last week we kind of had our special wrap-up for E3, the Video Game Expo. That is now behind us. We are in a post-E3 2018 world. So it's back to our regularly scheduled programming for you guys. So this is a regular show. We're starting a little later tonight if you're watching live, but hey, you might already know that. So, let's get rolling right into it. We always... my name is Matt. His name is Mike.
I'm Mike. He's Matt.
By the way.
We're going to roll right into this
Why
thing.
not? Yeah.
This is like episode 129?
I already said 128.
128?
I already beat you to it.
Yeah, beat me to it.
Mario 128. 128 Marios.
Going, but for some reason I can't see comments going.
I don't know.
It's weird.
So, let's start like we always start with the movies, and we always start movies with the box office numbers. So, it was pretty easy to guess what was going to be the number one movie this week, and it definitely delivered.
Yes.
In fact, it over-delivered, if you ask Disney.
It crushed it.
Easily. So, your number one movie, of course, as you might have guessed, was Disney Pixar's The Incredibles 2, debuting with $182 million.
To put that into perspective, the previous animated record holder, Finding Dory, $128 million.
Dang.
So this crushed it by $50 million. That's literally crushing it. That's the definite. If you look up crushing it, you'll see
it's a picture of Mrs.
2.
Incredible right there.
Well, Mr. Incredible, because he crushes it. But
it literally does.
Yeah.
So, we might as well note this now. Unfortunately, we do not have thoughts about The Incredibles 2.
I went to go see it.
We have not seen it.
It was sold out.
Yes.
The showing after it was sold out. And the 2 showings after that was sold out.
So needless to say, we will probably be next week with our actual feelings about the movie. We have not seen it. We'll be talking about it probably then, and we'll maybe fit it into our rankings.
But for now, just know that
for now,
it is, 1, killing it at the box office.
Yes,
2,
easily.
It has an A+ Metascore, Metacritic.
Yeah.
It's got like a 92 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this thing is like a home run hit for Pixar.
And as we predicted it would be.
Yep.
In fact, I'm so glad I took the over because I was right. All right.
Chat.
I
found chat again.
You found chat again.
I found chat.
Let's move on. The rest of our
the
top
box
5
office.
here. Your number 2 movie was Ocean's 8, earning another $19 million to add to its $70 million total. Your number 3 was Tag, Jeremy Renner's fake arm. Tags another $15 million.
No, it's opening to $15 million. It opened this weekend.
You have... Oh, that's right. Okay. I forgot it came out this week. I thought it came out last week.
Yeah.
Because we talked about it last week.
Talked about it last week.
Then...
It was one of our stories last week.
Solo drops number 10... Oh, number 4. Not number 10. Number 4 with $10 million. Deadpool 2 rounds out your top 5 with another $8 million.
That is to note that Deadpool 2 is currently ahead of Avengers.
Yeah.
Hey!
What do you know?
What do you know?
That is your top 5 as for this weekend. Well, get ready because everything got out of the way of the big new release this week, which is Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom.
Which is Chris Pratt.
Chris Pratt
is
Raptors, Bryce Dallas Howard,
yes.
The whole deal. Jurassic World, the first one, is literally playing in front of our eyes right now as we speak because FX can't stop playing it.
Yes.
If you're ready for more dinosaur action, this weekend's the time to get it. Early words seem to be positive, but
yeah,
that's only for very early screeners, so we'll see what actually happens when the movie actually hits theaters.
So far, people are saying it's not as bad as you think it's going to be.
Yeah. But
for a summer movie means it's going to be decent.
I don't expect a whole lot. I expect like a fun little popcorny kind of flavor.
Do I see dinosaurs? Do I see Jeff Goldblum?
Yeah.
Do I see Chris Pratt shirtless?
It's going to check those
boxes.
If
it hits those boxes, I'm fine.
So you'll be fine. But that is your new release. Everything else got out of the way, so that is the one thing this weekend. So
yes.
That'll be your number 1?
Yep.
Easily?
That'll be your Yeah, because if Pixar hits half, that's 90.
And we know how well Jurassic World 1 did. This will do maybe better.
No, it won't. Jurassic World was like near 200 million opening.
You don't think it's going to hit that high?
No, it's actually pacing at right around 120.
Interesting. Okay. It'll still be your number 1 movie, so look forward to that next week. As for movies, let's roll right into... I guess before we do so, did you see anything since you didn't see Incredibles?
I did end up seeing Tag.
Alright, so you saw Jeremy Renner's fake arms in Tag.
More like fake body. It seemed like they CGI'd his... Well, he was like in Men Black most of the time, so it looks like they CGI'd his face over a stuntman.
Sure.
Instead of just CGI'ing his entire arms. Because he does a lot of, like, from what it looks like, it would be too much to CGI. Holding stuff, moving stuff around.
Right.
Hitting people, yeah. But it looks
doing
like rather they basically just went from the neck up headline shot and put that over someone else's body.
Okay.
But as for the actual movie, it's Hangover-esque, but never hits those highs of Hangover.
Wait, were we still talking about Tag?
Yeah, actually.
What the hell? I thought Tag was an action movie.
Nah, it's more about friendship
than
anything else.
Okay.
Because it's based off a New York article, which actually is how it starts with one of the friends being interviewed and then the reporter tagging along to get the story on this tag game that's been going.
Got it.
So it's fine. It's definitely a friends film, friend-like film.
I thought Matthew Perry was in it.
I knew you were going to go there. That's why I just to clarify. But yeah,
David Schwimmer.
Yeah, much like The Hangover, where it was about the friends and the bonds they make.
This is that.
This is pretty much that, but centered around Tag. But it's also centered around a wedding, Jeremy Renner's wedding. It kind of hits you in the little feels a little bit at the end, but it's a fine film. Nothing to write home about to say like this is go see it, but nothing to where you're gonna be like I felt like I was cheated.
Yeah,
it's fine. Definitely, this is stream it. We're gonna put this on the scale. It's a stream it. It's a comedy.
Okay.
Put it on. You'll enjoy it.
But it's not fun. Something you need to rush out and see.
It's not a rush out, go see it. It's not the big summer comedy that it wants to be. R-rated comedy.
I mean, it's very telling that I didn't even know it was a comedy.
Yeah.
You have the name Tag and you have Jeremy Renner in it. I assumed it was an action film.
Jeremy Renner got the focus.
Yeah. But he's in it.
John Hamm, Ed Helms, and...
I don't think I've seen a single ad for this.
Johnson. Not Dustin Johnson. Johnson.
Johnson and Johnson?
The new girl guy. The guy who's in this film.
Oh, Jake Johnson.
Jake Johnson?
Jake Johnson.
Yeah, Jake Johnson. Yeah, he's in that. So it's a comedy. It's fine. Yeah, nothing. Like I said, nothing to write home about, but it's fine. It's a fine film. You're not gonna hate it. If you do, there's other comedies out there. So stream it.
All right,
stream
cool.
Stream it for the safe side.
So that's Tag. So anything else before we move on to news?
Box office news? No.
No, like news.
Oh, well, no, we have actual news to get to.
That's what I'm saying. Anything else before I move on to news?
No.
Okay, thank you.
I will be seeing Jurassic World on Tuesday.
So we'll probably talk about Jurassic World, hopefully talk about some Incredibles for you guys.
Yeah.
I'm going to see a movie on Saturday. It was originally going to be solo, but maybe we'll pull an audible. Maybe we'll see Incredibles instead.
It's a family film.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
All right,
moving on to movie news. And our first story is something that I didn't actually know that's pretty fascinating. There's been a lot of stories through the history of film of directors who have basically killed themselves or gotten close to it to make a movie happen, their dream project. There's been plenty of examples in the history of cinema of this, and one of the more lengthy attempts has been Terry Gilliam's journey of 25 years to try to make a movie about Don Quixote. The film, The Man Who Killed Don Quixote, was finally able to be screened at Cannes this year.
Yeah, like a month ago.
So, that may have been premature. Don't get excited, as he no longer has the rights to that film. So here's what happened. The Paris Court of Appeals ruled the ex-producer, Paolo Branco of Alfama, so I guess a production studio, is the proper owner of the film, not Gilliam. Branco, I don't even remember how I pronounced it, claims that a contract he wrote up with Gilliam is still valid. In the contract, Gilliam exchanges the rights to The Man Who Killed Don Quixote for the promise of funding for the production. However, Gilliam claims that funding never came, and he went out to seek a separate financier, and in turn was able to finally produce the film himself. So basically saying, it's like, oh no, I went out and did it on my own. This is still my movie. This producer's like, that's not what this contract you wrote says.
Yep.
I signed this. This is legal, binding. This is our movie, and thus I basically take claim of it.
And because that contract predates all the other contracts he made with other studios in order to finance it, this one won out in terms of the court. It's not a fun thing to talk about, but it is part of the whole legal aspect of movies because, as we said time and time again, it's a business.
It's definitely a business.
It's definitely a business.
It sucks because this is his passion project. In fact, I was just listening to a podcast where they mentioned this briefly, and one of the people on the podcast was like, wait a minute, that still hasn't happened. That's right. Like, he still hasn't made this movie.
Oh, no, he made it.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know.
He hasn't put it out.
Oh, he put it out.
Never mind. Anyways, it hasn't been released theatrically wide.
Yes, he was actually at Cannes after the screening, trying to shop it around to get domestic and international distribution.
And yet this happened. So we'll be keeping an eye, at least one eye open on this story to let you know what happens with this, but it does not look great for Terry Gilliam.
No, it does not.
Moving on, our next story has to do with a place where you see movies, and maybe someday we'll see this Don Quixote movie at AMC Theater. AMC Theaters will be putting their own version of a movie pass to compete with Movie Pass called A-List on June 26th. So
it's A-List.
A-List?
It's a list.
Well, it's also A-List. It will allow patrons to see up to 3 movies every week with no restrictions on format. That includes Dolby, IMAX, 3D, Prime, D-Box, etc., all of which Movie Pass does not cover. You can also reserve seats on their website or app and enjoy all the same perks as their AMC Stubs Premier member existing subscription offers. All this can be yours for $19.95 a month. Whew, boy, with a minimum 3-month commitment or a price lock for 12 months, a whole year. Seeing films will not hinder the amount of points you earn via their regular-ass Stubs benefits program that you might already have.
Yeah.
So what do you think about this?
So we knew this was coming. AMC was definitely going to put out a Movie Pass-esque
They didn't want to play ball with Movie Pass, so they wanted to do their own thing.
Right. Even though you can still use your Movie Pass at AMC theaters. I do it all the time. Oh, right over here.
Yes.
Sorry, it's over there.
Yes, wherever it may be.
Yes. But this is limiting, though. But it's also expanding. Yeah. So, personally, I don't see more than 3 movies a week. And I abuse that thing.
Yeah.
So, when I went to go try and see Incredibles, turns out Incredibles was the only film I could see at the theater.
Yeah.
Because I literally saw everything else that was playing.
Hashtag Movie Pass problems.
Hashtag Movie Pass. Hashtag first world problems.
Right. All of the above.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like for most people, this seems like overkill.
It definitely is overkill, but it does allow you to, one, see premium movies, premium formats of Dolby and IMAX if it offers it. 2, you can reserve your seat in advance, whereas with Movie Pass, you have to be at the theater to do that.
Yeah.
And some theaters don't allow you to reserve seating. Well, they do, but you have to physically be there.
And the ability to at least be able to go to like an IMAX thing or Dolby thing is kind of nice.
Yes. Currently, if you use your Movie Pass at an AMC theater, it will actually max you out at $16.
Right. And basically say like, hey, you need to use another card to cover this.
You need to pay more.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Please finish your transaction.
It's almost so weird that they went all the way with this thing. Like, there's no like 2 versions of this, which is what I thought they were going to do.
Yes.
Like maybe a Movie Pass equivalent where it's like a movie a week. And then this for like high-end users.
Right. But this is still double what Movie Pass is.
Exactly.
Which at $20, whereas Movie Pass is at $10.
Was, right? Isn't it higher now?
I don't think so. I think you still
I heard they were raising the price.
I don't know.
Yeah, I heard that. I don't know. Well, we'll see what happens with this. We'll see if AMC benefits from this, if this is something that people actually want.
If you already go to AMC theaters and that is your primary theater,
then maybe.
Then this would make sense. However, the freedom that Movie Pass has to use any theater and not limit you to just AMC makes it still the better offer, even if you not able to see the premium format.
Seems like for the vast majority of people, this is not going to be appealing.
Right.
But hey, AMC's going to AMC.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
If you're AMC,
you're going to AMC.
You're going to AMC.
That's what you do. Moving on. Our next story
is about music.
In the movie section, I know. We're throwing things all over the place.
Oh, they're going to be confused by the next one I have.
Great. So, first up, this story is about a composer, Pinar Toprak. Now, if you've heard this name before, you might be familiar with the Turkish-American composer, as she has worked in the past on Sci-Fi's Krypton, as well as the video game Fortnite, and last year's Justice League, where she contributed additional music to the film. Well, she's now joining the MCU, as she will score Captain Marvel, the upcoming Marvel film with
Brie Larson.
Academy Award winner Brie Larson.
Yes.
So, she has won, if you're curious about her past, has won 2 international awards, one for The Light Keepers in 2010 and for the documentary The Wind Gods in 2011. She's also worked under composer Hans Zimmer's own music composition company, Remote Control Productions. So have you heard any of her music before?
No, but I've heard of Hans Zimmer before, and he doesn't allow anyone to be a part of his... anyone. He doesn't allow just anyone to be a part of his company.
So you're basically like, oh man, if they're tight, then...
Like, if this has the Hans Zimmer stamp of approval, and you already have international awards, I'm like all for it. She will also be the first female composer in the MCU.
Hey, thumbs up.
Yep.
I like that kind of diversity. That sounds like a good deal. It sounds like she's worked on a lot of cool stuff before, so no brainer.
Also, just a reminder that Captain Marvel will in fact be set in the 90s. So interesting tones as to what she can play with.
That'd be cool.
Yep.
All right. Speaking of MCU and Disney, their corporate overlords, we have an update on our story that we've been tracking. Traditionally, we've been tracking this in the television segment of the podcast, but hey, why not just do this early because there's some important updates to discuss.
Yeah.
What I'm talking about, of course, is the Disney buyout deal for the Fox Entertainment package that we've been tracking for a while. Last week, we had told you that Comcast had put in their bid a cash offer that was higher than what Disney was going to offer. This put Disney with the ball in their court. Basically like, hey, put up or shut up. If you want us, put more money on the table. Well, they've done just that. They have made a new offer of $71.3 billion in cash and stock following last week's bid from Comcast for $65 billion in all cash. Disney will also assume about $13.8 billion of Fox's net debt, which, was going to happen regardless if they bought them. But this kind of sweetens the pot because this boosts the total transaction value to Fox to approximately $85.1 billion, which is a lot of crazy money.
But that's still not near Jeff Bezos money.
No, it's not. This is just insane.
I know.
So Bob Iger added that his studio was already 6 months into dealing with regulators, which represented a, quote, meaningful head start. Basically saying, hey, we got your back legally with the government.
Yes.
Whereas we can't guarantee Comcast.
As we reported last week, Comcast backed out of the Fox deal in December because they felt like they couldn't get the regulations passed.
Right.
Disney has since, I guess, assuming beginning of the year, worked with the FCC to get these regulations passed that they can acquire them. Somehow in, traditional backdoor dealings.
Yes. Disney has a history of that. So, we still are rapidly approaching the July 10th deadline where Fox is going to have to make a decision about which corporate parent it goes into.
Yes.
So, to the loving arms of the corporate parent.
Yes. And right now, Disney has made this sweet offer of, we will absolve all your debt instead of giving you money to absolve it yourself.
So, we'll see what happens. We'll, of course, keep an eye and keep you updated on this story. And that will do it.
Yep.
For television news.
Yeah, when that story
news.
when that story got mentioned, Fox's stock actually went up a bit.
Yeah.
So it was like,
hey, whatever you do, you're getting money.
Yeah.
It's going to be lucrative.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on to television. And we always start television with sports. So sports have slowed down a little bit. We kind of had the end of basketball and hockey. Baseball's kind of just coasting right now. And we're still months away from football. But another kind of football is happening. The World Cup started.
Woo!
I'm kind of skipping around because I feel like this should be the lead story. You don't even have it mentioned.
No, I think I have it down here.
Oh, okay.
It got mixed up.
Yeah. But I decided to mention it now because it's probably the biggest thing in sports right now.
Yeah. It's tournament play right now. 8 seeds of 4 teams are vying for 2 spots each into the World Cup seedings brackets in order to win. It's playing throughout Russia. Russia actually kicked off the games last Thursday and got off to a 5-goal win.
Damn.
In their second game, they scored another 3 goals. Russia's looking like the team to beat right now.
Yeah.
But Ronaldo, yes.
Mr. Ronaldo, Mr. Football. Mr. Football is his father.
Was his father, yes. The new Mr. Football, Ronaldo, already has 3 goals on 1 game. That's right, a hat trick in the World Cup has happened. It's exciting. World Cup is great. Unfortunately for us, because we're on the West Coast here, all the games are played in the morning, 5 a.m., 8 a.m., and 11 a.m. But they are definitely exciting. They're definitely hard-fought games, and if you have any chance to check it out, definitely do. Mexico beat Germany. Germany's the favorite. Mexico won 1-0. So there's a lot of good stuff happening right now. Definitely tune into Fox Sports
but if you like soccer, we're probably just preaching to the choir here.
Yeah.
You're already watching all of it. All right, in other sports, though, the NBA draft will occur on Thursday. That's tomorrow.
It's tomorrow.
With the Phoenix Suns having the first pick. Are there any notable things out of this draft that you think is going to happen? Any balls? Any balls going to be drafted?
I don't think balls.
We haven't run out of balls yet.
I think the other ball is not eligible yet.
Okay.
Because you can no longer go from
directly from
high school. You have to at least spend 1 year in college.
I don't know anything about like people who aren't already professional basketball players, so I don't know if you do. Names.
The D League already happened. That was the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, right. Yeah, anybody from there?
Not that I can remember. Okay. I don't pay attention that much because
basketball. Yes. Well, that's right. You were on a.
I'm on a basketball hiatus.
Basketball ban.
Yes.
So yeah, I guess you wouldn't know.
I wouldn't know. I'm not caring.
But hey, if you care, that's happening.
Yep.
Then lastly, 1 month until the MLB wow, I cannot speak. 1 month until the MLB All-Star Game happens in Washington, D.C. And guess what? Fans vote on that one. So go to the baseball website and submit your votes now.
Yes, you can also go to your local MLB team. They'll have booths set up where you can vote. It is the last month, so every vote does count.
So you're just hammering on that Trout button? Trout.
Unfortunately, Ohtani is injured, so he can't do it.
I was gonna say I heard about that, so that's why I didn't say Ohtani.
Yes.
Even though that's who we really want.
Yeah. He may get a vote because he is like one of the best pitchers in the game right now.
The Media Boat Podcast is the comfortable podcast that Ohtani chooses. Translate that into Japanese.
And then spread the word.
Like three people probably got that joke. And 2 of them are in this room.
Yep. Link to the chat, but hello, football's coming.
Oh, I'm so glad that she's listening. That means she heard that joke.
Yes. But yeah, no, Tyler is out on the golf course, and my brother listens to us. Much like brother, he listens to us.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
In fact. All right, so then that ends the sports talk. Sorry, Kristen. That's it for sports. Let's move into regular-ass television news. First up in television, we have to talk about it.
Unfortunately, I tried not to, but
it is important television news this week.
Yes.
If you are a fan of watching shows where people talk about other shows, you may have heard that one such host of a program like that, Chris Hardwick, has fallen to allegations of controlling behavior and sexual assault from his ex-girlfriend Chloe Dykstra during their romantic relationship that ended 4 years ago. So the fallout from this has been that AMC has first pulled Talking with Chris Hardwick, the television show he hosts, from its schedule while it assesses his accusations. He has also been withdrawn as a moderator on AMC and also from BBC America's planned Comic-Con 2018 panels that were scheduled to occur next month. NBC will also assess his ties to Hardwick, who is expected to begin shooting the 3rd season of his show, the game show The Wall, produced by LeBron James. His name has also been scrubbed from the Nerdist website, which, of course, is the podcast empire that he founded back in 2012 and where he's most famous from.
Yeah.
So, this stuff is just another example of, man, come on. First of all, be better in these relationships with people. Believe the women when they come out with their stories. And, holy crap, he was kind of terrible this whole time, and who knew? I remember back, did you ever watch on G4, they had Web Soup?
Yes.
Which was the internet version of Web Soup. That was my first Chris Hardwick experience.
That is also my first Chris Hardwick experience.
I wasn't familiar with him. Apparently he's been hosting stuff since 1996.
Yeah, he's been a round comedian for a long time.
Yeah, I think I was talking to my friend about it, and she was like, "Oh yeah, no, he was hosting stuff on MTV back in the 90s." I was
really?
Like, seriously? I mean, yeah, apparently he's 40-something. He's way older than me.
I love The Wall.
The Wall is fun, but
yes.
Anybody could frickin' host The Wall, though.
Yes.
They'll find a replacement for Chris Hardwick.
Get LeBron James.
There was a Twitter joke that I really enjoyed that was basically oh man, we're going. What a huge loss of Chris Hardwick. How are we going to find somebody who can watch a show and talk about it afterwards? So good riddance, Chris Hardwick. Moving on.
Yeah. Yeah, but like we said, we don't know what happened. Both NBC and AMC will be looking into it to determine the next steps.
I'm choosing to believe Chloe here. He probably is actually a scumbag.
Probably, but do you think, like, from everything that I heard, from everything that's happened to him, I think the biggest blow is the scrub from Nerdist.
Yeah, I mean, it's his empire. He built that thing. He was the head of that thing. I mean, he started a lot of other people's careers through that thing, and now it puts all those people kind of in that position where they either speak against him or remain silent, which is basically implicating. So it's like, it sucks to be a member of the Nerdist family right now, and I hope that company figures out how they're going to proceed from here without him.
No, you don't think it's too extreme?
No, not at all, actually. I think that it's the sane reaction to something like this. But you're welcome to not agree.
I'm going to not agree. I agree with the whole AMC and shows and everything.
Yeah.
Because that's a representation of
a company that he basically runs.
Yeah, that he founded.
I mean, there's other people there. I mean, you can't be the person who's still doing day-to-day operations.
No.
So I don't know whether it matters as much as you think it does.
Maybe.
I think really it's just his name that's being tarnished here. The company, I think, will find a way.
Right. Because he doesn't run the company, you said, day-to-day operations.
There's so many people that now have basically taken that concept and run with it over there that I think it'll be fine.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on. Our next story has to do with another kind of story about abuse, but this time of the internet variety. The Stranger Things actress Millie Bobby Brown is yet another example of people who just have taken way too much on social media and thus deleted their accounts.
This is 11 for
yes.
those of you.
Right, so yes, she has deleted her Twitter account after various users posted memes depicting her as a violent homophobe. The meme takes pictures of the actress and adds homophobic statements and slurs. I want to note here, this isn't based on anything that Millie Bobby Brown ever did.
No.
This is basically them just juxtaposing her image onto stuff that she would never do or say.
Yeah, because she is actually a part of GLAAD.
Right, yeah, no, and has been a LGBT ally, and this is just basically internet jerks taking advantage of someone's image.
Mm-hmm.
The memes, Brown, of course, as you said, is a public supporter and voiced support for the Parkland shooting survivors last year during that disaster. The reasons behind the meme are unclear, but hey, that's the internet. For the time being, she has removed herself from Twitter. So this is, like I said, kind of another example in a long line of just harassment, like ousting people from social media, which should be their way to talk to their fans. And basically, this is just jerks, trolls on the internet, making it difficult for these people to communicate with people who actually are fans of them.
It is. This sucks.
Yeah.
We have to report it, though, because it is news. Yeah. It's just, come on, people, be better.
Yeah, and Twitter be better, and Instagram be better, and Facebook be better. It's like there's stuff that the companies that run these services can do better to kind of fight against this kind of harassment. They're just, they always say, it's like, oh, our hands are tied, there's only so much we can do. No, they could do more. So, here's hoping that this gets fixed so this doesn't happen again.
Yeah, but if they do too much, then they'll lose people. It's fine balance that, like we said, actual companies have to deal with corporations.
Love them or leave them. All right.
Let's
move on from, instead of a businessman, a businessman, Jerry Springer.
Thank you, JayZ.
Yeah, I know. It was like a reverse JayZ. That was a Ziyage. Jerry Springer, he's a businessman, but his show may or may not continue. The future of the Jerry Springer show is currently in limbo, as no new episodes have been planned for the foreseeable future. Also, is it just me, or I did not realize that the Jerry Springer show is still on air?
I think it was just you. I figured that he's always on air.
Just forever going.
Not stopping.
It's got to be like one of the longest lasting daytime television shows now, right? He's getting there, right?
Getting there.
It's certainly beating a lot of soap operas.
Yeah.
At this point, I would assume. The staff was informed in April about the show not being picked up for a deal, and only being aired in repeats with the option to air new episodes should they be made at some point. The show premiered back in 1991, meaning it's just a year younger than we are, and has aired over 4,000 episodes. It's a lot of Jerry.
Yeah, that's a lot of Jerry Chance. And that's a lot of, I'm sleeping with your brother, you didn't know.
That's a lot of, you are not the father of paternity tests.
That's a lot of, I don't know, that's a lot of, my man is sleeping with my mom.
Yeah, a lot of those. A lot of all of this.
That's a lot of, I have a dirty secret and I'm about to tell you what it is.
Yeah, but yeah, I mean, it's silly. I don't know anybody who actually watches it at this point. I think Mark and Nicole said that they sometimes put it on in the break room of their work.
Yeah.
And people give them the side eye when they come in.
It's a fun, it's daytime talk show.
It's silly.
But it's funny how, like, he basically launched that kind of style.
It was not the first of its kind, but it was definitely popularized a very specific version of it. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it kind of did have imitators.
Yeah, I think the only other running one is the Steve Wilkos and Maury.
Yeah, Maury, it doesn't, I don't think it's on anymore, but Maury was kind of the same thing for a while.
Yeah,
too.
I think those are the only two that are still on, like, actually making new episodes, but everyone else, like, all the other imitators have come and gone.
Yeah. Oh, I just realized they're not the father thing. That is a Maury
thing.
That's not a Jerry Springer thing. I was conflating.
Jerry's more, hey, we're gonna fight.
Yeah, that's the fighting one. And yeah. All right. Anyways, let's move on. So, this is another update on a recurring story here on the podcast. This one is an update about that Sinclair Broadcast Group's massive takeover of Tribune Media. Remember that?
Yes, this is going through the FCC.
So yeah, the FCC are planning on sneaking in a vote to change limits on how many television stations a single company can own. Convenient timing for that Sinclair Broadcast Group takeover. It is currently scheduled for July 12th in order to get ahead of the U.S. Court of Appeals ruling about that Sinclair buyout. Under the current law, so here's basically how it works.
How it works today.
The cap is at 39% of all households. So basically, that is the limit right now. If your company owns about 1/3 of the networks that any individual household sees, that is the cap. That is the uppermost cap.
And note that this isn't like in a region. This is just in the U.S.
Yeah, in the U.S. So what they want to raise it to is 72%, which is what Sinclair stands to gain if the $6.6 billion acquisition goes through. So if those regulations change, you could have the vast majority at that point of networks in a single household being owned by a company.
7 out of 10 households get their news from Sinclair.
That's insane. That's basically state-run media at that point. Like, that's like one news for most households, which is scary. It lessens competition. It increases the bias. We've talked before about how the Sinclair Group, they lean a certain way, and it's been proven that the programming that they kind of ship, just like that, lean like that. And so it would be that times 7, and it's a scary thought.
Yeah, it's something that is most likely going to happen, seeing as the FCC just
opened the floodgates
for the internet. They're very high on deregulation, but they're also under a lot of scrutiny right now because of this.
So we'll see.
Yeah,
we will see what happens. All right.
Yeah, that's one of our other recurring stories.
So that'll do it for television news. Let's move into renewals and cancellations.
Let's see. Do we watch anything new?
So, I'm watching a television series, but it's not new.
No.
But I guess I can bring it up.
Yeah, you can bring it up.
I've been watching the CW's hit Riverdale. It's not currently airing. It's kind of in between seasons right now. The 3rd season, I guess, is coming later this year. Probably will premiere in the fall. 2 seasons are up on Netflix, if you're so inclined. It is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen.
Like, why is this a show?
It is, somebody thought, like, okay, so let's take the Archie Comics characters, let's put them in a teen drama, but then let's throw in murder mystery stuff. And that is what this show is. So
the Pretty Little Liars?
So yeah, it's kind of that kind of vibe, where it's like, they're teens in the show, and they're doing teen stuff.
They don't look like teens.
I know, they're really in their 20s, and it's very clear that they're in their 20s, but you know what I mean. Like, high schoolers, in quotes.
Oh, yeah, definitely put quotes around that.
And high schoolers of archetypes that you're very familiar with, if you are familiar at least with some of the Archie Comics characters. Archie is kind of the preppy, he's the football player, he's the everyday next-door guy. Then there's the two girls, Betty and Veronica. Betty is the nice blonde. Veronica's the the bad girl brunette. And, like, Jughead, the weirdo, the outsider. And so it's, like, these very stock characters. And basically, let's throw them into, like a Pretty Little Liars or, like, a One Tree Hill. Where, like, but let's lean really high and hard into the, what if there's a drama about a murder in the town? And what if the town isn't this nice town that, like, we think it was, and all this stuff. Basically taking the Archie stuff and basically turning it upside down. Saying, like, oh, this has really got a seedy underbelly to it. So, it's interesting that you're seeing the underbelly.
Yes.
It's interesting because it does kind of... It's the writers know exactly the kind of show that they're writing. And so they're completely 100% earnest. So there's no, like, winking and nod, like, oh no, they know they're ridiculous, but they're going to lean in and make it as serious as possible, which makes it even more ridiculous. Like, there's, like, the way it's shot plays into that. Like, you saw, like, there's a bit where they're having a town hall meeting in a room that... See an auditorium that seems to have no windows, and yet you can see the lightning flash on the character's eye. It's that kind of, like, production. It's over the top, very on purpose, and all the dialogue is ridiculous, and the characters are crazy, and yet it's set up in a way where it's convincing enough where you become invested in it.
And you're invested in it.
It shouldn't work. None of it should work.
It sounds ridiculous.
It is ridiculous.
It sounds like dumb on the dumb scale.
It's so dumb on the dumb scale that it wrapped back around to being amazing.
No.
That's where I'm at with it right now. Is it seems insane that it exists. So kudos to the CW for putting money towards a thing that just should not exist in this universe. But yeah, so I'll continue watching that. I'm in season 2 right now. I finished season 1 in 2 days. It was only 13 episodes. It was
yeah, but they're an hour long each.
Yeah, I know. 45 minutes on Netflix. But yeah, so I'll report back when I finish that, probably in a week or 2.
Alright. Well, while we're on shows that are currently airing, I went back and started rewatching Brooklyn Nine-Nine from the beginning.
Okay.
Because it's on Hulu.
Yeah.
And Hulu's been yelling at me to watch it because it's like, shows you'll like. Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like,
it's like, well, yeah, I do.
Yeah, I know, I do.
I've seen it all. I don't need to watch it again.
So I went back and I watched the pilot.
Yeah.
That's the pilot.
Yeah, it has to be.
It has to be, though. But by the 3rd episode, it found its footing so quickly, that literally from the 3rd episode on, it just rolls. And it's nice that it hasn't changed. So it's not like you can see stylish shifts or tone shifts or writing shifts, but it all still flows and it all still works. And I can see very easily now what makes that show good and the kind of little nuances that they changed from the pilot just in 3 episodes to make it a very much enjoyable and lovable show.
Yeah.
The main one being the one they switched all the callbacks. They got rid of callbacks from the same episode from like a detective show. And
they didn't need it, yeah.
They didn't need it. And 2, any callbacks that they do have, they add that like breaker sound effect before they do it.
Yeah.
So you know, hey, this is going to be a callback or a reference. So like, we're showing you this.
The big flashback thing, yeah.
Yeah. It's a nice thing that works there, and kudos to whoever created that aspect.
All right, cool.
And lastly,
you have something else?
Yes, a new show.
Okay.
But it's actually just a repackaging of an old show.
Okay.
I started watching Gordon Ramsay's 24-hour
It's
restaurant makeover show.
It's Kitchen Nightmares.
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It's Kitchen Nightmares on speed.
Basically, they wanted to make a special out of Kitchen Nightmares.
Basically, Gordon Ramsay didn't want to help these restaurants any more than he had to.
Yeah.
So they put a cart. So it's like, okay, what if you just do a day? We'll shoot everything in a month, and you don't have to worry about anything else out of that. It's like perfect. So that's basically what it is. It's Kitchen Nightmares. You're still getting the terrible restaurant owners, the terrible wait staff, the cooks who can't cook, and the kitchens that are a mess.
Mm-hmm.
But
all of the above.
But it's everything that you want out of the Kitchen Nightmares, anyways.
Yeah.
Where you have Gordon Ramsay yelling at these dumb and hopeless, should not be but are restaurant owners, and everything's just sped up. It's fine. I think this thing is gonna basically replace Kitchen Nightmares.
No, it's a different thing.
I don't see Kitchen Nightmares returning if they have this.
Okay. I mean, I think like there's probably like different times a year thing where it's like, oh, I put this out.
Yeah,
like,
it's summer.
Chicken Nightmares.
I know.
How do you call it Chicken Nightmares?
I have the same problem, but
that's a very different show.
It is.
I'm having Chicken Nightmares.
That's a Tyson show.
It's
a Tyson.
That should be a campaign.
That's a 50 Tyson show.
That should be a campaign where it's like, the chicken guy should be on Chicken Nightmares. Anyways, all right.
So
let's move on.
Yeah, it's a fine show. It's worth watching if you like Gordon Ramsay, and I do. Yep. It's also I can see why Fox put this thing on in the summer when nothing else is on, because it fills an hour. Easily fills 1 hour of television.
Okay, let's finally then actually move on to cancellations and renewals.
Yes.
So first on the chopping block, canceled after one season, The Opposition with Jordan Klepper. But
there's a caveat.
Here's an asterisk.
Yes.
Don't worry. I guess they've figured that the Alex Jones InfoWars thing only gave them so much material to work with. So it's just that version of the show that is canceled. Jordan Klepper will be getting a new weekly series in early 2019, probably with a different concept.
Yeah, I don't know. I like that concept, though.
Yeah, but there's only so much you can do with it. And
right.
It sounded like from the clips that I heard is that it was basically a really loose premise. They don't need the InfoWarsy stuff to give basically Alex Klepper, or Jordan Klepper a show.
Alex Klepper.
I conflated the two.
Yeah,
but yeah, and so like they could pretty much just basically do the same show and just change the premise.
Yeah.
It's not hard.
I like the show, personally.
Right.
It's a good show.
I like Jordan Klepper.
It's a fun. Yeah.
It's probably I might like him at this point better than Trevor Noah.
Really?
I don't know. Trevor Noah is just I have had a hard time getting into his version of the Daily Show.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doesn't click for me.
I don't know. I like them. They run back to back.
Right.
They run back to back. It's a fine show. I like it. But
they really, really wanted it to be a new version of the Colbert Report.
Which is in an interview he said that he didn't want that, but he saw what was basically the Alex Jones,
right, the
InfoWars stuff.
And figured let's do that. But like I said, on the clips though that I've heard, those like they don't lean that really hard into it. It's a very, very loose thing, like wrapping around basically just a show where Jordan Klepper talks about stuff. Like they don't need it. They don't need that premise.
It takes clips strictly from Fox News and runs with that.
You can do that without having that wrapper.
Anyways,
we talked that to death. But yeah, so look forward to Jordan Klepper getting just a new thing that'll probably be the same thing.
Yep.
All right, moving on. A show that was canceled is now getting revived. So we reported how Fox had canceled the drama Lucifer. You know, the one with the devil? After 3 seasons. Well, guess what?
Internet didn't like that.
The internet went crazy, and the internet responded in the form of Netflix saying that they'll bring it back for a 4th season. So if you're a fan of Lucifer, I mean the Fox show, but also if you're a fan of Lucifer, you may be happy with his portrayal on the show Lucifer that will air in its 4th season on Netflix.
Yep.
So there you go.
Internet seems to like that show, so yeah.
That's it for television cancellations. Next up, we have deaths. A couple that we need to talk about real briefly here. Matt Murphy, age 88, who was a guitarist in the Blues Brothers. Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. The other one, I'm going to be real brief here because we don't really need to talk about this guy. This year, a Billboard #1 song artist this year. An album? I think he had a #1 album.
I think it was album.
End of last year or something.
Yeah.
XXXTentacion, who you have written down on this form as XXX Tentacoin.
Is that not what it is?
It's Temptation.
Oh.
Yeah, it's not Tentacoin. Tentacoin is way better, though, and about the amount of respect that guy should get. But yes, he was shot, died at age 20, but is mostly known for being kind of a terrible person, saying some awful stuff on the internet and abusing his girlfriend, and just kind of scummy guy.
Oh, so if I did make actual news about him,
right,
for music, then that's fine.
Yeah, that's absolutely fine because I basically just told you what happened.
Oh, okay.
So don't worry about it. But yeah, he was most notable for having a #1 album, I guess, into last year or earlier this year, and he was on some sort of list about hottest rappers in one of the rap magazines. And that was that's it.
Briefly read
that's the whole thing. Really not
news.
That much to be excited about.
Yeah, I briefly read the news op-ed that they put out for this. I was like, this should be news, but yet I don't care about it.
He was also related to that Spotify story that we were talking about. He's also kind of responsible in a roundabout way for Spotify rescinding their content policy.
Okay.
If you recall, when we were talking about the content policy where they pulled a bunch of artists,
right,
he was one of them. And his agent was the one who basically sent that email about, oh, well, if you're going to pull our client, here's all these other people you should pull. That was all part of that story.
Oh.
So, at least his people are partly responsible for Spotify getting rid of those briefly stated rules. So, yeah. He's kind of important by default for this story, the grander story about
default
music.
By association.
Yeah. All right, let's move on, though.
Let's go to Billboard.
We're going to talk about Billboard this week in the charts.
Speaking of music.
XXXTentacion is not involved.
Speaking of music.
#1, though, on the singles chart, your Hot 100, again, is Nice for What by Drake, moving back out to #1. #2, Psycho, Post Malone featuring Ty Dolla $ign. #3, I Like It by Cardi B, Bad Bunny, and J Balvin.
That's a mouthful.
I know. That's a lot of boof sounds. #4 is God's Plan by Drake. And #5, Girls Like You by Maroon 5 featuring Cardi B. So Cardi B is still pulling double duty in the Hot 100 chart. Your 200, your #1 album debuting at #1 is the new Dave Matthews Band record.
What
year? Come tomorrow.
What year is it?
Yeah,
Dave Matthews is a thing?
People like rocking the D&B.
I thought that was a joke people made.
Nope.
I know they actually did that.
Somehow. Coming in #2, Kids See Ghosts with Kids See Ghosts.
Kids See Ghosts.
Following its debut. Didn't quite make #1, but came in at #2. So Kanye's got his a #2 record right after a #1 record.
How does Kanye feel that he lost out to Dave Matthews Band?
I know, that's weird, right? Don't worry, he gets a second album on this chart in just a second here. #3, The Mountain by Dierks Bentley.
Hey.
#4, Beer Bongs and Bentleys by Post Malone. And at #5, as I mentioned, Ye by the Ye himself, Kanye West.
It's funny, Beer Bongs and Bentley is not by Dierks Bentley.
Right. There's a lot of Bentley going on in this top 5 this week. That is your Billboard charts. Moving on to
new releases.
New releases for Friday. This Friday we have new music from Best Coast with their first kids album, Best Kids. Yes, they made an album for children. A fun fact. Dawes with Passwords. Gnod, or maybe Nod, maybe you don't pronounce the G.
I think you pronounce the G.
With Chapel Perilous. That's a cool name. Jill Barber with Metaphora. Kamasi Washington with Heaven and Earth. 9 Inch Nails with a new album, Bad Witch.
Yeah, that 9 Inch Nails.
Panic at the Disco, yes, that Panic at the Disco with Pray for the Wicked. And Project Pablo with Come to Canada, You Will Like It.
Probably.
I like that. Come to Canada. You will like it. All right, that's your new releases. Moving into music news.
Yep.
Ding, ding, ding. First up, we have a story about a drummer who we all know and love. Travis Barker, drummer from, of course, Blink-182, isn't feeling too hot. He is unfortunately suffering from blood clots and a staph infection in not one, but both of his arms. Those money makers, he needs those.
Yeah, he kind of uses those to drum.
A lot. So the band has thus postponed its ongoing Las Vegas residency that we reported to previously on this podcast. The band promised fans that they would reschedule the dates and provide refunds for those unable to attend. He was last seen in public, Travis Barker was, on May 28th as part of the Drum Bots. That was the official drum line for the Las Vegas Golden Knights. I guess this was part of one of their opening kind of things.
During the for the first game of the Stanley Cup finals. Yeah, Stanley Cup finals. He was part of that drum line.
Okay. Well, I hope Travis Barker is on the road to recovery.
Yes. It is to note that this is not drug related.
No, it's just an infection.
Yeah, this is an infection. Yeah. Yes, people were saying, "Oh, I thought he was off drugs." Like,
no, he hasn't. He's been sober for years.
Yeah, he's been sober for years.
Yeah.
This is just
unrelated.
What happens when you
drum a lot.
You drum a lot.
Moving on.
So he can't drum up business.
So from a famous drummer to a famous rapper, we have news about JayZ. So you have a story here about the about their tour, but real quick, before the tour, we should probably talk about the big surprise that JayZ and Beyonce unleashed upon the world this week. They dropped an album together.
Yeah.
A collab album between the two of them, credited as The Carters.
Right.
Fun enough. But yeah, it hit Tidal for a couple days with exclusivity, and then after that hit other streaming services. If you have Spotify, though, I want to note you have to be a premium user, apparently, to access it. Free users will not have it until the end of the month.
Really?
But yes, there's new music out there by JayZ and Beyonce, and video to accompany it, as they now are due, both of them, with their new releases. So yeah, I've heard mixed things, though. I've heard that there's some interesting storytelling going on there, but the actual music may not be as great as we wanted it to be. But yeah, in response to this,
unfortunate,
they have news about their tour. They have thousands of unsold tickets for their UK dates on their On the Run 2 tour. Fans have been reporting being handed freebies or upgrades for nothing. Hundreds of seats remain available for the 66,000 capacity venue. I'm guessing you don't have anything at the end there. So far, only 9 out of the 46 dates in Europe and North America have been sold out. So, is this because the tickets are super expensive, or do you think that the venues are too big?
I think a combination of the venues being too big.
Yeah.
Two, this is UK.
Right.
These are UK problems,
maybe
not necessarily US.
Presence there is not as large as it is here.
Right.
Yeah.
And three, this could also be ticket scalpers who buy up tickets and then aren't able to resell them, so they sell them back in order to retain some profit.
So it might be a combination of things.
Yeah. But this is nothing to be too concerned about. It is JayZ and Beyonce, after all.
They'll make two.
I think they'll manage somehow.
They'll manage. Maybe. Alrighty.
But yeah, it's interesting to see the type of music that plays from
different audiences,
different audiences, different countries. Mm-hmm. And last thing to note, JayZ is currently working on a biopic. Okay. I read this real briefly because he has acquired the permission from Sony ATV to use Marvin Gaye songs, and he will be producing a Marvin Gaye biopic. It is notable that he was produced and the inspiration partly behind Straight Outta Compton. Mm-hmm. This will be his second movie
that he's involved in.
Yeah, that he'll be involved in.
Huh, neat.
So yeah, look forward to a Marvin Gaye biopic coming soon from JayZ.
Cool, that's exciting. Right, moving into another story about some tour or a stage show that may be coming to a city near you sometime in the future. likely Broadway, first starring a famous star of music of yesteryear, Michael Jackson. Columbia Live Stage and the Michael Jackson Estate have announced development on a stage show based on his life. Speaking of biopics. No title has been announced yet, but it will be directed by Tony Award winner Christopher Wheeldon, who directed those
are three different. Those are two different plays.
Yeah.
No, he didn't direct them. He was the choreographer. That's right.
I'm sorry, choreographer.
Yes.
Christopher Wheeldon, and feature a book by Pulitzer Prize winner Lynn Nottage, who I guess wrote plays including Sweat, Ruined, and Mud.
Yeah.
It's a good one-name plays. However, don't expect it soon, as it has a premiere date of 2020 at the earliest. Well, none of us are going to see this. None of us are going to be alive in 2020, right?
Yeah, the world ends in 2019.
Everybody knows that.
Yeah, nuclear war, y'all.
But yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they would potentially do.
All right, name that Broadway show.
One White Glove.
One White Glove?
Yeah.
That's a really good name, actually.
Got it, off the top of the dome.
That's a really good
name. Or just call it Moonwalker. I know that's already a thing.
Yeah.
I want it to be called Moonwalker, and I want it to be based entirely on the arcade game. Moonwalker.
Person bring a premium member. Spotify, the Caucus.
Yep.
I like One Like Love. That's actually pretty good.
Yep.
Not
bad. All right, let's move out of that of music news then. We're wrapping that up, and let's talk about some music that you listened to.
Yes, I did.
So you have two records here. One that I kind of listened to part of it with you.
Right.
One that I heard a track from. So first, what do you want to talk about first?
Let's go with the one I listened to first. Mike Shinoda.
Okay.
And dramatic trauma.
Okay. Yes. Post-traumatic.
Post-traumatic.
Yeah.
Yes. This is not as depressing as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
Strangely enough, from the vibes and the material that was presented on this, one, it is to note that this is his first album. It's a solo album. Two, it's basically his thoughts and his production working through the passing of Chester Bennington.
Mm.
With that in mind, I was expecting something super downer, super depressing, something that's like, I'm struggling here, like a cry for help.
Sure.
But it wasn't.
Okay.
It was actually a kind of somber tone to it. It was nice. It was hopeful. It was, yes, I'm going through this, but everyone goes through this, and we'll get through it.
He wants to unite people around celebrating like a life and be optimistic about coming together in the future, as opposed to just dwelling on death.
Yeah, he doesn't really dwell on death or on his pain, essentially, but he does go through his own emotions of dealing with it, whether it's lashing out at other people or whether it's reflecting on the times they had or just kind of moving on with the help of friends.
Yeah.
He does intertwine several messages he got throughout the album of people not only sending their condolences, but also those amounts of support that's around him as well.
Okay.
A lot of these tones, a lot of the flow and melody I got from this were reminiscent of all the tracks you don't listen to coming off Linkin Park albums. More specifically, the latter half of Minutes to Midnight. I got really eerie tones of those type of songs. Same thing from the latter half of Hunting Grounds, where he's actually more vocal on that than Chester Bennington has.
So yeah, it makes that was something I almost thought this was going to be, and this kind of proves that I may have been right. Like, oh, this is going to be the half that Linkin Park fans don't kind of glaze over because it's not Chester Bennington.
Yeah.
I feel like they're both very equal in probably the large picture of what that band was, but because most people gravitated towards the Chester heavy songs, people didn't really think about the Mike Shinoda songs as much. And this is kind of his opportunity to be like, no, this is the style that I brought to the table. This is my half of Linkin Park.
Well, because he wrote all the songs.
Right. Yeah, that's what I mean.
And people don't realize that he wrote the songs, he put all the melody, all the beats to it. That's another thing that I actually noticed on this album is that there's a lot more melodic tones and beats than guitar riffs and drum solos, because
that was
it's
his
not
part,
a band, it's his own project.
Right, and it's a neat thing, because like when a solo project is good, it makes you think, oh, this reminds me of the things that they put into the band that they're famous for. And like the most important solo albums are always the ones where you're like, oh, this reminds me of like makes you appreciate their the stuff that they put towards their original band more.
Yeah.
And it sounds like this does that.
It is, and because I personally enjoy those other tracks that people don't necessarily listen to, I enjoyed this album just as much.
Okay.
It definitely has a feeling towards it. It did put me in a depressing mood, which I'm glad it didn't. And that obviously was not his intention when he made this, which is, it's methodically made to where it's enjoyable no matter when you're listening.
That's good. That's good. He probably wanted to put something in the world right now that was going to bring people together and not just depress people.
Yeah. So definitely check it out.
Yeah.
Especially if you're a big Linkin Park fan, don't skip on it. It's basically his message to the fans and to the world that we will get through this. Yeah. We're going through this. It's okay to be sad, but we still have to move on.
Cool. All right, cool. And the other thing you listened to?
Oh, the other thing we listened to briefly the first half.
Yeah, okay.
Which is Christina Aguilera's new album, Liberacion.
Liberation.
Yes.
What the hell is up with that thing?
I don't know. I don't know what she's doing.
Yeah, when I heard of it, it sounded like either she got this idea in her head or somebody got the idea in her head that she needs to make a Beyonce album. Because that's what it sounded like to me.
This thing sounded very overproduced. It very much reminded me of that Candyman song she did. But like every song was like that.
Yeah, it seems like she really is leaning into the R&B side of her sound and getting like hip-hop producers to help her out. There's Kanye production credits on this thing.
Yeah, there's 2 Kanye songs.
Yeah, and
you can definitely
hear it.
Kanye.
Turns out. But yeah, it seems like she's trying a different kind of vibe, and it didn't seem like you were enjoying it.
No, not particularly. It does have some signature Christina runs in it. Some signature
Christina has the runs.
And lows.
Let you hear it first here. Christina has the runs.
Yes. Christina Aguilera
always has, always will.
Definitely sounds like her, but just like throw her voice over a Beyonce track, and it's kind of what you get.
Yeah, it's kind of similar to that. I mean, kudos to her for trying something different, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing, is that like she doesn't want to get stuck into the Katy Perry, Taylor Swift rut.
Right, and this is definitely something that I can see her wanting to do. Basically, explore the options that she has.
It kind of reminds her trajectory kind of reminds me of the Kelly Clarkson trajectory, where they struggled for a little bit trying to figure themselves out, and then they realized, I'm just gonna do what I want.
Right.
And then something clicked in like at the late period of their career where both of them are like having new success now because they figured out a niche. The question is that will Christina find that niche quick? Because a lot of people are. It seems like people are gonna sleep on this thing.
I think so, too.
Yeah, it's not going to be as important as Kelly's thing, I think, was for her career.
Right, but Kelly's steered more into the mom genre.
Mom genre! But it's good mom genre, though.
Yeah.
That's the thing, is I listened to part of that recent Kelly Clarkson album. It was like, she's doing some really great stuff. It's just, it's not for the
mass
the people
radio
who were
play.
the place where her stuff got played before.
Right.
She's pivoted, and I think Christina is pivoting as well.
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see if Christina gets the play she wants, see if she gets the audience market she's looking for. But let's move on.
So that'll do it for music. Let's move into video games.
Yes.
Don't worry, guys. This is kind of a cleanup week for video games. The big explosion of E3 was last week. So this is the aftermath. This is basically like everything's kind of slowed down in the video game world. We won't have a lot of huge news for a while, but a little bit here and there.
Yeah, but first we have some new releases.
We have new releases. First up, we have a version of Flashback coming to Switch. Yoku's Island Express, which from what I understand is like a platformer pinball mashup, which apparently is really awesome. I've heard nothing but good stuff about this game. The Switch version was out last week. This week the PS4 version joins it. So I'm actually probably going to pick that up. I don't know which console though. Probably PS4. But I'm like really curious about that game because I've heard nothing but really ecstatic stuff about it. And I love pinball.
All right.
And a pinball like adventure game sounds amazing.
Pinball adventure game.
Yeah, so I'm in. I'll try Yoku's Island Express.
Okay.
Grab the Bottle on Switch, which sounds... I don't know what that sounds like. It sounds like a party game.
I think so.
You spin the bottle?
I don't know. There's a lot of Switch titles being released.
Yeah, including Mucinex.
Mucinex,
yes. Your favorite sinus medicine coming to Switch. Drawful 2, that of course, Drawful. That's
part of the
Jackbox games, getting a standalone release for Switch. And our big release this week, coming to Switch, Mario Tennis Aces, which we're probably going to buy.
Yeah.
I haven't 100% dedicated $60 to that because it's a lot of money. And I think that I feel like if I'm going to do that, I want to buy a Pro Controller. And I'm like, that's another $60. So it's $120.
I know you do.
So I don't know. We'll see. It's a big investment.
We'll see.
But yeah, that's out this week. At long last.
All right.
Moving on to our video game news. Our first story is kind of a cleanup story after E3. This one about Sony. So one of the biggest complaints coming out of E3 about Sony was that they have restrictions on crossplay for their games, most notably Fortnite.
So as you recall, one of the big news was Fortnite coming to Switch and being allowed to crossplay your account between Switch and Xbox.
So Switch people can play on Xbox and play against Xbox people and PC people. They're all one big pool, from what I understand. They can all play against each other, and you can move your profile from place to place and retain all of your stuff. However, the PlayStation version of Fortnite acts as an island. You cannot go in and out. You cannot play against anybody else except, I think, other PlayStation players.
Correct.
So, gamers have discovered that if they had first played the game on a PlayStation console, as I mentioned, they are unable to use the same Fortnite account with the newly released Switch edition. This prevents them from being able to make use of outfits and other in-game purchases and rewards they had garnered. There's no limitation when moving through the Xbox One and Switch, which we just kind of basically said. And people have voiced their concerns loudly via social media, as they are wont to do. Sony has since released a press statement that you can cross-play Fortnite now, I guess. This wasn't the case before, on PC, Mac, iOS, and Android devices, but, quote, we have nothing further to add beyond this at this point.
Yeah, there's still no crossplay between Xbox consoles and Switch consoles.
Yeah.
But with
PlayStation, you mean?
Yeah, PlayStation.
This has happened before with Sony, as we've noted before, with Rocket League, which I believe we talked about here, and Minecraft. Sony's pretty much locked down when it comes to connection with other consoles.
Yes, one of the former executives at Sony was asked about this, and his response was, it's Sony wanting to make sure you buy Sony products.
Yeah, which of course it is.
Of course it is.
And Microsoft was like this for a while too. I mean, this kind of platform-friendly Microsoft is not that old. It's like maybe a couple years old. They used to just be as locked down as Sony is now. That used to be the norm. Console players play consoles and usually play against themselves, not against other consoles. So yeah, this whole like democratization of multiplayer play is new, and Sony's just not there yet. So we'll see. Moving on. Something else that's so new that we are not even going to see it probably until next year. A Yoshi game for the Switch.
Yeah. So we noted in our pre-E3 podcast that hey, we should probably see some of that Yoshi game.
Well,
they say it was coming out this year.
Well, we didn't. We didn't see Yoshi. Nintendo did not show that Yoshi solo adventure for Switch at all on E3 because it's been delayed, and Nintendo has officially confirmed that. It's officially confirmed to be delayed till 2019. It was announced at E3 last year, as you may remember, and it was even playable on the show floor. During the show, Reggie Fils-Aimé, who was, I guess, president of Nintendo America, I think that's his title.
I think that's his title.
Said that it is still in development. Yoshi, in the meantime, will, of course, appear in Super Mario Party, Mario Tennis Aces, and Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, all of which are released later this year.
So you're still going to get your Yoshi fix this
year?
Yoshi,
just not the game Yoshi, which is what we've been waiting for.
Right.
It looked like it was a cardboard theme, so one theory that I saw on Twitter was like, are they going to put Labo in it? I was like, yeah, maybe.
I can see that.
Some Labo support in it.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah,
we'll
there's Yoshi still coming out. Yoshi game's still being worked on.
Made.
So for those of you who are crying, wah, during E3, during Nintendo Direct's video.
Yeah.
Don't worry, he's out there. He's coming. He's coming.
And other news from E3, a lot of people have been wondering about Halo Infinite, the thing that opened the Microsoft conference on last week's E3 stage.
And a lot of people were actually excited. Hey, new Halo game. This thing looks amazing.
Yeah, but the one thing that kind of take away from that trailer is that we have no idea, one, what this game is, and two, when the hell it's coming out. And there's kind of a reason for that. So it turns out that this demo that they showed there was not only a preview for a new Halo game that is pretty far off into the horizon, but also the engine that it's built on. Apparently, this is a brand new engine called Slipspace that's designed by the Halo Studio 343. Studio boss Chris Lee said the game is so ambitious that they needed an entirely new engine to support their design. This is probably why Halo Infinite is probably a few years off. So don't get too excited to see it anytime soon. I would bet this is a late 2019, early 2020 game at best.
I'm going to put it out even further.
Okay.
I'm going to say this is a 5-year out game.
Whoa.
This is a 2022 game.
Whoa. I don't think I can go that far.
I can go that far because I lived that.
You lived that.
In 2013, PlayStation came out and showed the first glimpses of Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yes,
everyone was crazy about it.
It was not Kingdom Hearts.
Yes, it actually is more ambitious.
It's more important for Xbox.
But the reason they showed that was to say, hey, one, we're working on it. Two, this is the engine it's going to be run on.
Yeah.
Later in development, they did switch engines.
There are some similarities, but I don't think it's...
And that was...
That's the case.
That was a 5 years out game. Gonna be 2019 release.
I don't think it's that far out. I think that if at latest 2021.
No, it's gonna be further.
Nah. I think you're crazy. Moving on.
No, I think I'm accurate.
You're crazy.
If Halo is gonna be as big and as ambitious as they want it to be, I think that we're gonna see this thing delayed and pushed back, and it's gonna be worked on as like their crown jeweling of the Xbox One.
Well, we'll wait and see. How about that? All right. Our last story in video games, and good thing because my throat is about to give out. GameStop. They're a popular topic on this podcast.
So we noted last month that the CEO of GameStop left the company.
Yep. Well, there's some other stuff going on financially that might be interesting for the future of the company. They are currently in talks with private equity firms about a potential buyout. In May, CEO Michael Mahler left GameStop, as you just mentioned, and several hedge fund companies, including Tiger Management LLC, Sycamore Partners, and a Texas-based company called Grapevine, rose 11% on news of interest.
Of interest in buying GameStop.
Yeah. So
could we see the end of GameStop, or at least a new parent?
I mean, it sounds like they just want an investment, a kicker, somebody to buy them and basically put a lot of money behind some sort of massive pivot.
Yeah.
That's my guess.
Well, we have noted previously on the podcast that GameStop has continuously lost revenue over the past several years.
They need a kick in the pants.
Yeah, they're no longer the go-to GameStop.
Yeah. Right? Stop for games.
Yeah, the go-to stopping for games, GameStop.
So I have two possible theories. Two theories here. Two possible ways it could go.
All right, let's make it 3.
Okay, all right. Well, the first one that came to mind is they're looking for a complete pivot. They're looking for a way to spin their business in a way that they can't do right now because they don't have the financial backing to do it. So if one of these companies buys them out and then they have some cash to use, I think what they do is they spin to have a enormous digital presence in some way. Whether this be a digital storefront a la Steam or a streaming service a la what used to be like GameTap or something. So a competitor now to a PlayStation Now or a Xbox Game Pass thing. So that's theory 1. Theory 2 is that that's what they think they're getting into and that's what they want, but the corporate partner is just going to buy them and just shut it down. And the reason why I think that is possible is because GameStop has proven that they're just a big money hole right now. Mm-hmm. They're losing revenue like crazy. They're becoming irrelevant. And these companies are probably also seeing what's happening to other retail giants like Toys R Us. And probably like, this is not a business that's worth getting into. So if they do purchase it, they're buying it to absorb it and shut it down.
There is literal writing on the wall.
Right.
But you don't buy something just to shut it down. You buy something because you want to make a profit off of it.
I mean, in theory.
In theory.
But I've also seen the latter happen as well as the former. So sometimes they'll buy, a company will buy something that has cultural cachet, aka everybody knows what GameStop is. Mm-hmm. They know the GameStop branding, but the actual thing that they do is irrelevant. So the second thing, the other kind of like the asterisk there is that they could still use the GameStop branding for other things. They could like spin it off into something else and call something else GameStop because they own the IP. Also, important to note here, purchase of GameStop is also a purchase of Game Informer magazine. Keep that in mind. That is still...
Wait, are they still running?
Yes, Game Informer isn't only still running. They're one of the highest circulated magazines in the United States. They have been a top 10 magazine in the U.S. for the last decade and a half.
Yeah, I believe it.
They're one of the few magazines that still matter because of GameStop. GameStop got so many subscriptions out in the world for Game Informer that they have higher circulation numbers than frickin' like Time magazine, than like People
ESPN
magazine, than ESPN magazine. Like they have such high cachet in the magazine world that would be a lucrative thing for a corporate owner to buy. So keep that in mind. That's a pawn here in the GameStop buy. So they might just shut down GameStop and keep Game Informer. So what was your theory?
I don't know. I like the Game Informer theory.
That's part of it.
Yeah, that's something I considered. I mean, I got Game Informer from GameStop.
Right.
It is, people still use that, even though we have internet now. YouTube, people make videos constantly, but I mean,
people like print magazines still.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of them.
Well, they still get a lot of exclusives, whether it's art or insiders.
Yeah.
So there's still some relevance as to why they would still be around.
Right.
No, I didn't really have a conspiracy theory.
No, okay.
I was hoping you could make up a third one.
No, that was the two. But yeah, that's where I can keep going. Basically, what I'm saying is, regardless of what happens, the GameStop as we know it will die if this happens, because there's no way that they can exist. Yeah, the
GameStop model. Well, I was hoping GameStop would incorporate that winner's sale thing where you pay $100 or $60 or whatever, and you can just exchange games.
Unless that's their pivot, maybe that's what they try.
I mean, that was a good concept.
But if that fails, though, then there's nothing left.
Yeah.
And then they have to do something digital.
Right. I feel like they want to get into the digital space. They actually do offer some digital content.
They do.
but not enough to make it substantial. So whatever GameStop does, or whatever whoever ends up buying them does, it's got to be a big splashy move to get people back to caring about GameStop. Otherwise, you're right. Writing is literally on the wall, a la Toys R Us.
Right. It's a lot.
It is. And we've talked a lot. I think we are done. Unless you have any games you want to talk about.
No, I didn't play any games this week. Although, I got to return Kirby because I forgot to update my credit card, so technically our GameFly is on lapse. So technically I'm on probation for GameFly.
Yeah, until you return
I gotta
Kirby.
turn that back in. Because I forgot everything turned off on my old debit card. Because they replaced all the debit cards. So yeah, but that's for me to worry about. So yeah.
I think we're done. I think it's time to plug away.
So that will do it for the Media Boat Podcast for this week. You can tune in next week. We are live on YouTube. Just search Media Boat Podcast on YouTube to find our channel. We're live every Wednesday night at 8 p.m. Pacific time. This week we were a little later than that, but usually we are at 8 o'clock. So you can catch us live if you subscribe to our channel. You'll get notifications when we go live, which is pretty cool. We're also on social media if you want to track us that way. We're on Twitter at MediaBoatCast. We're on Facebook, search MediaBoat Podcast. Like and comment on our page. We enjoy it. We want feedback. Give us some feedback. You can find us on our Patreon as well, where you can donate as little as $1 a month to make this content even better. So that was patreon.com/mediaboat if you want to help us there. When we were streaming video games every once in a while, we stream them on twitch.tv/mediaboats. Check that out. I would plug MediaBoatPodcast.com here, but it is also on a brief break. We are on hiatus with the website. I'm just thinking kind of in my head about what we're going to do in the future with that, because I kind of want to rethink our ideas about our approach to the website. Mm-hmm. Maybe have some sort of idea for a content pipeline that we can actually stick to, because it just was what we were doing before was just way too time consuming. So yeah, we'll figure something out for the podcast. We'll figure out what kind of content we want to put on there, and it'll be back up, and we'll let you know when it is. But until then, those are the plugs that I got. Oh, if you want to listen to the audio version of our podcast, that's the last one I didn't do. You can catch us on Apple Podcasts, Media Boat Podcast on there. You can also find us by plugging our RSS feed into any of those podcast catchers that you've got, and get us every week. And that will do it for the Media Boat Podcast.
That'll do it. That'll wrap us up. Thank you all for tuning in.
Yep.
Thank you all for listening.
Yep.
We will be back next week with Jurassic World 2, Incredibles 2, and any music that we may listen to.
Yeah, whatever we do, we'll tell you about it. So tune in.
We'll tune in. We'll be back next week. Thank you all for listening, and bye. All right, we're caught up on YouTube after show.
Yeah.
So thank you all for tuning in. Comment when we go live, and we will respond to you as we do. Thank you all for tuning in.
As we do.
All right, bye.
Boy.